Let's go ahead now in this demonstration and create and manage our shared access signatures. So let's head over to the Azure portal, and in the portal we're going to use this storage account SLSAS demo. So we'll select that one. And in there on the left hand side you can see we have our access keys and shared access signature. So I'm going to show you access keys first of all. This is very important because you have two access keys associated with your storage account, and if you want to at any point you can regenerate your keys. Now the reason they give you two is because if you need to regenerate your key, you can move everything over to key 2, make sure everything's working, then regenerate key 1, because what happens is when you regenerate your keys, all those shared access signatures that we create will no longer work. Now if we go over to shared access signature, we can now create one for, let's say, our blob store. So we can say, okay, we want to allow services for blob, but we don't want file, queue, and table. We're going to give full permissions to the resource. And if we scroll down, now we select the start and expiration date. So hopefully you saw in the previous module description around our shared access signatures, this is where it'll create that start and end time. And sometimes it helps just to create one an hour in the past for your start time, so you know it's immediately going to be accessible, actually even further, just depending on your time zone if you're worried about that. You next have a section on allowed IP addresses. So if we want to restrict access to specific IP addresses, we can do that here. This could be a single IP or it can be a range. Our allowed protocols, so HTTPS only is the most common. And then you can see at the bottom here, we have the signing key. So we can choose to sign this shared access signature with key 1 or key 2. And as long as we don't regenerate that key, this shared access signature will continue to work. So let's go ahead, let's use key 1, let's generate the SAS. And then if we scroll further down, you can see our SAS token and our specific blob service SAS URL. So we could grab this token now. If I hit it there, go ahead and put it into one of our images that we have already loaded. And let's go ahead and grab that image. Image.jpg, paste our token there at the end, and our image comes up using the SAS token that we've created. But this can obviously be a little bit cumbersome because, you know, we've got to now manage this shared access signature. Would have created 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 of these. How do we sort of deal with that? And so the policies that I mentioned previously are a great way to do this. And if we go over to Storage Explorer, in Storage Explorer, we can right-click our container and we can select Manage Access Policy. So in the section, we can create a new access policy. We can give it a name, so let's call it Images 1 day as an example. We'll start it today. We'll end it to 2018 in this example. I choose the permissions again at this point and I select Save. Now, by itself, the policy doesn't actually do anything. What I need to do is when I create my shared access signature from Storage Explorer, I can reference that specific policy. So now if I go back over to the container, right-click it, and choose Get Shared Access Signature. At this point, I can drop down and select my access policy, and it's going to put in the start and the expiration time as well as the permissions that I selected in the policy, and I can go ahead and create that, and now I get that shared access signature, which ultimately is referencing, you can see there in the query string, the policy. And the good thing now is if I want to change the expiration date, I can simply go ahead and change the policy, and that's ultimately going to expire the shared access signature because it's relying on that policy. And with that, hopefully this gives you an idea of how you can control access to your containers, images, etc. using shared access signatures, but in combination with policy.